everyone. Back for my second video. I will attempt to keep it as coherent, concise as I can. My brain likes to wander off and talk about other things and other than what I'm trying to talk about, so I will attempt, but no promises. ADHD is crazy. This one I thought I would do on empath. Specifically empath versus having empathy, because I find that a lot of people think they're the same thing, and they're not. And people always try to, what's the difference? And it's like, okay, it takes a bit to get into it. So having empathy, anybody can have empathy. Anybody and everybody can. It's a matter of putting yourself into somebody else's shoes and understanding, not just feeling, that would be sympathy, understanding what they're going through, feeling it as if they're feeling it. Sympathy would be, oh, I feel bad for you, okay? But empathy is like actually feeling it the way they feel it, understanding it the way that they feel it. Being an empath is not something we try to do. It's not something we consciously do. Being an empath means that we soak up energies and emotions. We don't try to feel how they're feeling. It just happens. It's very draining. It's very difficult to deal with, especially when you don't know that's what it is. It's not just, and it's hard. So it's like, the way I explain it is, I always say that I'm an empath who lacks empathy, and that confuses so many people. And I've gotten so many people saying, well, then you can't be an empath. Well, yeah, I can. Because for me, I don't necessarily understand. I can't necessarily get myself in that mindset to understand what you're going through. It makes me seem very cold and distant, and it's not that. It's not that I don't try. Like, I'm not trying to get it. I just don't. The best example I could come up with was, for example, if this is just me personally, by the way, but if I were listening to a mother talk about how she's lost a child, or how her child's gone missing, and she's crying and stuff, you know what? I will likely cry right along with that mother. I've never lost a child myself. I've never had one of mine go missing or anything like that. But because I'm a mother myself, I could understand that. I could understand how devastating that would be. I can put myself at least in that situation. If I lost my child, I would be devastated. I would be crying. I would, and I can physically put myself in there, and I can not only feel their emotions as an empath, I could understand that. To a certain degree anyway. Clearly I've never been through, I wouldn't know, but I could have that empathy. I could put myself in her situation. I could, I could at least imagine what that would be like. Now, I don't get along with my mother. I'm adopted. I was adopted when I was 2. One second, my son is messaging me. My cat had kittens, and my son is asking about it. Okay, sorry. I don't get along with my mother. I never have. I was adopted when I was very young. We just don't see eye to eye, for many, many reasons. Religion's one of it. She gets an idea in her mind. She runs with it. Long story, another time. Point is, we don't get along. If somebody had said that their mother had died and that they are heartbroken over it, I wouldn't know what to do with that. I would just be like, okay, cool. Sorry for your loss. And that would be the extent of it. And for me personally, that's because I don't get along with my mom. Not to say that when she dies, I'm not, going to be sad. I mean, she's still raised me for all intents and purposes, for 30 years, and I'm not like stone cold or anything. It's not like I don't have any emotions. It's just I would be, I would have a very difficult time having empathy for that because I don't know what that's like. I don't have a good relationship with my mother. I wouldn't understand what that's like to lose her because I don't ever feel like I've had a mom, if that makes any sense at all. Um, it can get really confusing, and I get that. Um, but that's the best way I can explain it, how you can be an empath but not have empathy. Um, I just, it depends for me, I guess is what I'm saying. For me, it depends on the situation. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. But they are two very different things. Um, for instance, like some empaths, like for myself, we can feel the earth. We can feel the earth energy as well, not just people. I realized I felt earth energy long before I realized I could feel people's energies. Um, so there's that too. So I guess the biggest difference is like one is that you purposely do it. You can purposely put yourself in someone else's shoes. You can personally have empathy for somebody. You can do it on purpose. And empaths, we don't. It's not something we try. It's not something we go out of our way to do. And it is very draining. It's very hard. And that's where shielding comes in. And I think I might save shielding and grounding for a different video, mainly so that I have something else to talk about, because I'm kind of like at a certain point I feel like I'm going to run out of things to do videos on. But shielding is very important for empaths, as well as grounding. Grounding is important for anybody, but especially empaths. And that's like where boundaries come up. A lot of empaths feel the need to save the world because we feel that. We feel this energy. We feel the hurt and we feel the anger and we feel all of that. And a lot of people, a lot of empaths want to help everyone. And the thing that empaths need to understand is that you can't. And you have to be able to learn which people you can help and which people you can't help. And not everyone's going to want your help, and not everyone's going to be ready for your help. People are going to say they are, and they're really not. And you as an empath have to figure out how to figure that out. Who can I help? Who can't I help? You also have to learn to distinguish your feelings from other people's, because you will get you'll just get random feelings sometimes. And a lot of empaths don't like being in crowds. And that's because when we're in crowds, there's so many emotions and so many energies flying about that it overwhelms us. We can't handle it because it's just too much. That's why I always joke and say I don't like people. That's kind of a joke. In small groups and people that I really like and really trust, I'm okay. It takes a lot to force me to go do that. It's really funny. My husband makes fun of me all the time for it because once I'm out with friends and having fun and stuff, I'm fine. I enjoy it, for the most part, and I like it. But to get me to go out there and do it is a lot of work, because even amongst friends, that energy and that emotions, all of that, I feel them all. I have gotten very good at shielding myself. I've gotten to a point where I literally shield myself and I don't even realize I'm doing it. It's a constant thing though, every single day. It's something I put up, and I block myself from many emotions because of others, because I don't want to, I can't handle it. I've got my own stuff going on, I don't need yours too. And that's a huge reason that I keep myself away from drama. It's a huge reason I keep myself away from negativity. I got my own stuff going on. I'm feeling, especially right now with everything going on, we had 6 out of the 9, yes, 9, not 8, almost cool, there's 9 planets. We had 6 out of the 9 planets in retrograde at the same time, and it was killer. And, oh my God, all of the highly sensitive people, we all felt it. We all struggled with it. People who don't even realize they struggled with it. People who aren't even highly sensitive people struggled with it, because you can believe it or not, and I don't really care if you believe it or not because I know it's true, the cosmos really affect people. It really does. So when planets go all screwy, people are going to feel it. And it was a rough time. It was a really rough time. I almost didn't survive last week. Last week was rough on me. I was oh my goodness, I was hit so hard with it. I had migraines and I was nauseous. I spent pretty much 2 straight days in bed and I barely ate anything because anytime I tried to move, I was nauseous, or anytime light hit my face or sound came through, I got a migraine. It was bad. But that's the kind of things that empaths and highly sensitive people, HSP, that's what we deal with on a daily basis. And I don't think that people necessarily understand how difficult it is to be that affected by something. But that's also why it's super important for us to put up those boundaries, to learn how to shield, to be able to tell people, like, no, I'm not going to do this right now. Like, your drama needs to go that way. Your attitude needs to go that way. And it's very, very important for us to be able to do that and to understand that it's not you being rude. It's not you being, I guess it's kind of being antisocial, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. If you can't handle it, tell people you can't handle it. It's okay. And you know what? There's going to be lots of people that are going to accuse you of being rude. There's going to be a lot of people, hello Kitty, who is going to tell you that, that you're being selfish and hi. Things like that. Sorry, my cat just came through the window to say hi to me. Ew. And there's going to be people who are just going to take it the wrong way. And I know a lot of newer empaths have a very hard time with that, and they feel guilty, and they feel like it's all their fault. They feel that they shouldn't be doing it. They feel wrong doing it and all this. And it's not. And I can't stress that enough. It's really not. Like, it is okay. And I feel that the need to stress that, especially with empaths, that you don't need to feel bad. Don't feel bad. Put up your boundaries. Tell people no. I have to do that to my husband a lot. My husband's one of those people that he's louder when he's quiet. So when he's not saying much, I feel his emotions more than when he's saying. Like, I'd almost rather him yell at me with words than just be silent, because his silence is so loud. Not many people will know what I mean by that, but those who do, you know what I mean. Like, and he went through a pretty rough patch last year, and it was really rough on me because as an empath, but also as somebody who needs to be taken care of and needs to be nurtured. I'm not really a nurturer. Like, it's hard for me to put that out there, and I was forced to. And that's fine. It's part of being in a relationship. You give and you take, and it's fine. But it got to a point where it was most of the year. And by the end of it, I had to tell him very honestly and very bluntly. It's like, you either need to get over it, or you need to not be around me, or I need to not be around you, because I can't handle it. I physically, emotionally, I can't be here. I can't do this with you right now. I've taken care of you, and I've done the best I can. I'm at the point now where I can't do this anymore. It was rough. It was probably one of the very few times that I've actually felt a little guilty, because I don't normally feel guilty. I've gotten to a point where I know it's a necessity, and I know I need to do it for myself, so I don't feel guilty most of the time anymore. I don't have the time or the energy to be feeling guilty about it. But I know he was going through a rough time, and so it was probably one of the few times where I did feel a little bit guilty for having to tell him that, but I had to, because I couldn't take it on anymore. I was already dealing with my own stuff. I didn't need his stuff too. So it's very, very important for empaths to be able to do that, to stand up for themselves. Tell people, you know what, I don't like your attitude. I don't like your negativity. I need you to go away, please, because I just can't. But I just wanted to say that that's the biggest difference between the two. And I want everyone to understand that there is and I've had this argument with many people who can't seem to get it through their heads that there is a difference between having empathy and being an empath. Being an empath is a gift, and I know a lot of people will say it's a curse. But once you've learned how to handle it for yourself, because everybody has to learn how to handle it themselves. Shielding is very good, and I will do a video on that, at least how I was taught. I'll probably make it like a shielding, grounding, boundaries video, I guess. So I have more to talk about than just the shielding. But well, I totally lost my train of thought. But being an empath, you have to be able to block yourself from things. You have to be able to just, otherwise you're going to be drained. You're going to be drained all the time, because you're going to have, that's what I was going to say, because I feel like a lot of people who haven't learned how to shield or ground or set up their boundaries are the ones that are saying it's a curse. It's definitely interesting. Being an empath, you pick up on things you don't wanna, and you pick up on things that like you don't want to feel, and it's very confusing. It's very, very confusing if you don't know you're one. It's very confusing. Even those of us who know we are and have been through it for years, and shield and ground every day. Even us, sometimes we don't know. There'd be times where I'm sitting there and I'm perfectly fine, and then I go out and all of a sudden I'm in a really crabby mood, and I have no idea why. Probably somebody I pass on the street is having a bad day, which is why I'm a homebody. I like to be home. And I will say this, and huge disclaimer, clearly I'm not a doctor, so I don't want anybody going on taking this as medical advice by any means. Make that very clear. But my personal opinion is that a lot of people who have been diagnosed with bipolar, very, very good chance that they're actually an empath. Or both. Could be both. Both would be awful. Because they're very similar. They look very similar. My mom had me, I believe, misdiagnosed as bipolar when I was younger. That's a whole other story, a whole other day. Don't even want to get into that. She did it too young. She did it at an age where you actually can't medically do it. But again, I digress. Different day, different time, different day. But that's my personal opinion, is that, again, not medical, obviously. Don't go off your meds if you're on meds for bipolar. Definitely don't do that. All I'm saying is that I personally believe that a lot of people who have been diagnosed might not actually be. Because with bipolarism, is that even a word? But if you have bipolarism, your emotions go up and down. Like, you'll be fine one moment, then you're not, then you're depressed, then you're manic, depending on what kind you have. And it does change randomly and drastically. But that's very, very, very much similar to how being an empath is, especially if you haven't learned how to yourself down, like calm yourself down, block out the energies, block out the emotions of others. It's very difficult to explain unless you are one. That it's really weird. Like, you'll be fine, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh, I'm angry. I don't know why I'm angry. Or I'm depressed. I don't know why I'm depressed. Same thing goes with twin flames. Twin flame soulmates, the same thing. Sometimes you'll twin flame, or your soulmate will be feeling a certain way and it affects you. That's, again, another thing. But, like, we pick up on things. We pick up on things we don't want to pick up on, and we pick up on things that we don't necessarily even know are there. And so it is a difference. It is very much a difference between the two. One is voluntary, one is not. And I really wanted to do a video specifically on that, because I feel like so many people don't get it. And, I try to explain it best I can, but a lot of people either just can't get that out of their mindset of what they think, and that's fine, whatever. But I just wanted to be very clear that there is a difference. And I want to be very clear that you can deal with it. There's ways to deal with it. There's ways to minimize it. Not going out in crowds if you don't have to. Like I said, shielding, which will probably be my next video, just because I said shielding a lot in this video. It's hard. It's not an easy gift to have, but it is manageable, and it is doable, and there is a difference between the two. I really don't think I have much more to say on it, and I think if I try, I'm just going to end up rambling and saying the same thing over and over. So I think I'm going to end this video, and I will probably get ready to do one on shielding. I'm also going to do one on my other a video each on my other abilities that I have. I don't know why I said abilities, but so that's the end of this one, and thanks for watching. I'm not awkward at all. Bye.